Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm still having issues with my camera's frame rate. I don't know what's going on with it, but every time I turn the brightness up, the frame rate gets lower, so hopefully I can figure it out soon. In any case, I hope you're all doing well today. Let's talk a little bit about executive greed and why that might be affecting Dead by Daylight and how executive decisions are probably the biggest problem. So the first thing that I want to start this video off with is actually talking about Project T. Now, for many of you, you might be thinking, Project T, why does that sound so familiar? And the reason it sounds familiar is because it was Behavior's four-person co-op shooter that has been in development since 2022 and that they announced at the anniversary stream for year 8. They said that they were working on it and it was going to be in development, and we got some news today. I say today, it was actually a couple days as of me filming this, but I haven't gotten around to filming this yet. But anyway, so the news from Behavior Interactive says, to our community, we have conceptualized Project T. We wanted to have players involved in it as early as possible. I can't do a Canadian accent. You're just going to have to deal with the British. Which led to the creation of the Insiders program. This approach has allowed us to get a very early validation on the project's core design and gameplay, which is something that often comes much further into the production of the game. Following the playtest in July... There was a playtest in July? Who knew about this? Did you know about this? I didn't know about this. We ran a thorough internal risk assessment from a product and commercial perspective, while a number of players expressed appreciation for what they played. Unfortunately, the outcome of this deep analysis yielded unsatisfactory overall results. It's with a heavy heart that we announce that Project T has been cancelled. We want to thank you for your support throughout this journey. So that's it then. No more Project T, no more attempts, 2 years of development down the drain. Now there's a few key words within this announcement that kind of frustrate me to my core. The very first of them is the fact that they go with the whole, we did an internal playtest in July. Who playtested the game? I'm assuming people within the Insider program. Here's the problem with that. You can't just limit your playtests. If you're trying to get a public perception, limiting your playtest alpha to just the people who happen to be in that Discord probably wasn't the best idea. Look at something like Deadlock. Deadlock is currently in its playtest alpha. That's accessible through people on your Steam inviting other players to try the game. And it's one of the biggest games right now, and it's in a playtest alpha. The few people who wanted to try to get into this Insider program, I think you had to join a Discord or something like that, were probably not adequate enough. But the second thing that kind of irritates me is that the entire point of a playtest is for you to take things that don't work with the game and improve upon them before the game's full release. That's why Deadlock gets like 5 updates a day, because the development team is constantly taking issues and problems that players find and you know, cycling through and making changes and updates, bug fixes, mechanic updates, UI changes, things like that. The game is basically still in development during the playtest stage. So if you get negative feedback, the answer is not shut down the entire project. That's not how a playtest alpha works. But the other thing is the internal, how did they phrase that? Internal risk assessment from a product and commercial perspective. That is very, 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 very tight executive speech for basically, we tried to figure out if this was going to make us a lot of money, and we projected that it wasn't going to make us a lot of money based off a playtest that nobody was allowed to join because nobody even freaking knew it was happening. And again, people within the Discord probably knew it was happening. That's probably what it was for, but without marketing it for everybody to actively try. And the Dead by Daylight player base is very dedicated to trying other Behavior games. I just want to make that clear. Every time a new Behavior title drops, every single streamer within the Dead by Daylight space tries that title. So you would have definitely gotten you would have definitely gotten noticed from people like Otts, Hens, maybe Scott Jund. I would say Scott Jund. Spooky Loops, like the big streamers that keep Dead by Daylight, basically not keep Dead by Daylight alive, but keep a lot of the updates for behavior alive, would have play tested it. I would have play tested it if the playtest was free and I didn't have to pay for it. I would have gladly broke down an entire review, but I think that's part of the problem. Part of the problem, behavior executives are making bad decisions. Pretty much what the downfall of every game development company is a bunch of people in suits that have way too much money that don't understand how development works, have come in to declare that they understand how development works, and will cause the devs, the actual game developers, to make bad decisions. The reason I bring this up, and the reason I bring up this whole Project T thing in relation to Dead by Daylight, is because, do you guys know the Mori changes that are coming to the game? I heard something very cynical about them, and it gave me a lot of pause for thought. So if you're not aware, basically the way behavior is doing the Mori changes is they are getting rid of the offerings in favor of a base kit Mori that only happens to the last survivor in the match. The reason this is a bad idea is because it is going to lead to basically internal problems, and you're basically not going to see the Mori like ever, unless you bring items, or unless you bring perks like Devour or Rancor. This is just an all-around bad idea to take away players' ability to Mori 4 survivors or Mori any survivor they want with the green Mori. I don't mind them making the Mori the last survivor a base kit function. I think that's fine as it stands. I think base kit Cypress Mori is a good idea. But what's not a good idea is taking away the other Moris and giving paltry blood point bonuses to them in the event that you might Mori the last person. Because remember, the blood point bonus specifically only applies to Moriing the last person. So you can't bring it with, like, say, a Devour or a Rancor, Mori multiple people and then get the bonus. You can't bring it with, like, Sadako or Pyramid Head, Mori multiple people and get the bonus. It only applies if you Mori the last survivor. So let's say you Mori the first 3 and then the last survivor finds Hatch, then you just don't get the blood point bonus. You know what I mean? Like, overall, it's just a very badly designed system. But somebody said at one point that they think that the Moris are being changed in such a drastic and dumb way because the game wants to be able to sell more Mori animations. The executives want more Mori animations to be able to be sold so they could justify putting more Mori animations in the game. And they think that the reason people aren't buying the Naughty Bear or the Wild Huntress skin, you know, outside the freaking price point, is because they think that people aren't being able to be Mori'd enough. And that's not the case. What's generally happening is people choose between bringing a Mori and bringing a BP offering. So they'll normally just bring the BP offering and forgo the Mori and let the Mori stack up. And a lot of people have brought that up as like a point of like, oh, well, now I don't have to choose because I'll always have the Mori. But you don't get it. You won't always have the Mori. Not unless you're 4K'ing every game, or not unless you're catching the last lucky soul out and putting them putting them on the ground. Like, you got to understand, you can't like face camp your way to that last Mori. You can't do that. Unless every other survivor leaves, you're not getting the last Mori. So if you stand over them trying to push the rest of the survivors out, they could easily crawl out, or they could crawl the hatch. I am telling you, with this change, Moris are going to go down, not up, because you are not getting the last survivor that often. Most of the time, the last survivor escapes. Even if you get a 2 to 3K or something like that, the last survivor escapes most of the time, and it's all down to RNG and hatch. So Moris are not going to go up like they think they are, but that's what the executives are thinking, right? The executives are thinking in their mind. And like I said, it's a very cynical outlook. It's a very, you know, it puts a lot of assumptions out there, and I don't necessarily think it's true, but for once, and knowing how executives function, I kind of think it might be. I think that a lot of bad decisions that we've seen within behavior's lifespan aren't necessarily all on the developers. I think a lot of it might be on the executives. The fact that we're getting new cosmetics every like 2 days, it feels like at this point. The fact that we're not getting cosmetics for characters that desperately need them, and we're only getting our 79th Sable skin and our 125th Michaela skin is all because of the executives. The executives do not understand basic game design. They're probably a bunch of stuffy suits who inherited their money through generational wealth, because they all fucking are, right? And so my thought is that a lot of the problems that we're having with not the balance of the game, but a lot of the really weird quality of life decisions and a lot of the weird marketing decisions are all because of executives. Just like what happened with Project T. That is very obviously an executive decision. That is not a developer decision. No developer works on it for 2 years and had a playtest available in July and was like, yeah, we can't do this, and threw their hands up. That's not what happened. There's no way that happened. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.